Hey everyone, I'm Brittany Jones-Cooper and welcome back to Build. Louise Hazel is a former track and field athlete who represented Team Great Britain at the 2012 London Olympic Games. Now she's channeling her competitive nature on MTV's The Challenge, Champs vs. Stars, where she's competing to win money for charity. But before we bring out Louise, let's check out a clip.
Good though, sleep well, ready for today?
Be working out 4 times a week.
Getting it in, I think that's what they call it. Bang for your buck.
We'll just have to kill it.
Same thing as always. If everyone was being smart about it, you'd want to get the team out that you don't want to be in the final, which would be the 2 big guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If everyone was being smart.
But they're not.
No.
They're scared of that Goliath.
Myself, Casper, Drake and Booby have stuck together on the blue team since the get-go. And our plan to get to the final is see whether we can band together as stars and get CT and Tony up on the chopping block. CT's been sat there on his high horse the whole time. And there's one thing we know about the challenge, you can't get too comfortable too soon.
We'll just smash them.
All right, guys, put your hands together for Louise.
Oh, thank you. I look so serious all the time.
I mean, it's serious competition.
I mean, it is for me. I'm literally one of those athletes that just cannot switch off. Like, the track and field career is behind me now, but, you know, the Olympics is every day out there.
So let's talk a little bit about your track and field career, because you didn't just run track, you did the heptathlon.
I did.
Which I ran track my entire life, so I know what that is, but for those who don't, tell us how involved that is.
Okay, so the heptathlon, for those people who don't know, is 7 events. It takes place over 2 days, normally a weekend of a championships, and the events are the high jump, long jump, shot put, javelin, 800 meters, and hurdles. So it's literally like we're the kings and queens of the track. That's all I can say. It's hard work.
It is the hardest event in track and field.
Yeah, definitely, for real.
So I would imagine it's hard to leave. I mean, you spent your entire life training for that. It's probably hard to leave that competitive nature behind. So is that what draws you to a show like this?
Definitely. I mean, I can remember the day when I remember calling my mum and telling her that I wasn't going to do the heptathlon anymore, and I thought I would do hurdles. And she was kind of more devastated than I was when it came to kind of letting go and retiring. But yeah, I was just telling the guys backstage, you don't want to take me bowling or any other kind of fun daily sport, because I literally zap the fun out of it, and it literally just becomes competition. How do we get from A to B, and how do we win as quickly as possible?
That actually makes me want to go bowling with you, because I'm the same way, but I don't have any excuse. I'm just that competitive.
Game on. Let's go.
I grew up with 3 older brothers, so like everything, I'm like, yeah, are we going to keep score or no? Okay.
Sure. I think that's what it is. I have 2 older brothers as well, and so I think as almost like the youngest child and also a female, you're constantly having to prove yourself.
Oh my God, we have so much in common.
Yeah. I think, yeah, this game is on, definitely.
I relate to that. So tell us about the show, because this is the challenge alumni versus celebrities and athletes. So who's on the show? Like, what is the makeup?
So Champs vs. Stars is effectively a spin-off of the main show, The Challenge. And so the Challenge alumni are MTV stars from shows like Are You the One or The Real World and Road Rules, which is what it started as, a competition series between those 2 shows. And the first series, which I participated in, was called Champs vs. Pros, and that was a group of professional athletes versus the MTV Challenge champions. And this is the 3rd series now. And the cast, wow, this year were just incredible. We have Casper Smart, choreographer and creative director. We have Hennessy Carolina, Cardi B's little sister, who is an absolute firecracker. Oh my goodness, little mama. Oh my gosh, she's my sister. I feel like I've found what's really nice about television is when you are thrown into these crazy situations, but you make friends for life. And then we have Booby Gibson, NBA. Drake Bell, former child star. I say child star, he's very grown now. He's a grown man. Musician, songwriter, super talented. Arian Foster, like one of the best NFL running backs in history. I didn't have a clue who you were, though, Arian. Just going to have to say. But I'm from Britain. We play like soccer. So, you know, but wicked guy. And Brooke Hogan. Again, like super nice. And I feel like there's somebody I'm missing. feel like that might well be it. If I've missed anyone, I apologise.
You did a pretty good job.
Yeah, solid.
So what are the dynamics like on set? Because you're competing for charity, right? So first, what is the charity you're competing for?
So I was competing for the Baltimore Leadership School for Young Women. Now, I don't know whether anybody has seen the Netflix series Step. So it's a documentary, actually, and it was basically following a group of girls from the Baltimore Leadership School for Young Women as they kind of spent a year kind of getting ready to compete in the national kind of step championships and also charted their journey to try and get to college. And Baltimore was a place where, you know, I kind of identified from it. I came from a very rural place back in England, and there wasn't necessarily much opportunity. And so the struggle to be great, or the struggle to get to university, and the struggle to do something outside of your immediate environment was always a challenge. And Baltimore just struck me as that kind of place. And I just felt like these girls have huge heart, huge determination, and also this amazing passion and talent for step. And I just thought, they're the girls that I'm playing for. It really resonated with me watching that show, and it kind of brought a tear to my eye. I was just like, okay, I know who I'm playing for this time round, and it just meant that much more to me.
I love that. And stepping is a competition. It's really, I mean, it's a big deal.
I know. I'm useless. I haven't quite got it. You know, I'm trying to get a little trip out there to visit the girls and, you know, get them to teach me, because we didn't do anything like stepping and like back home in the UK. It's nothing like that.
It's a whole new level of coordination.
For sure.
So what are the dynamics like on set? Because you have all these big personalities and you're competing for things that you're very passionate about, and you have to sort of form different allies. And so how do you, I guess, what are your tips for playing this game?
So the personalities one is really interesting. So I tend to take, when we first kind of meet up with everybody, I tend to take the backseat role as observer. And, you know, I'm kind of an intuitive person. I like to kind of suss out who's in the game and who I'm playing with. And so I take a backseat role. And then this is kind of what happens every single time on the Champs versus Stars. I don't intend on getting myself into trouble, but I'm just mischief. In the first show, Champs versus Pros, we ended up having this game, well, effectively a moment that will go down in challenge history as Limegate, where I kind of come in and just start playing the champs at their own game. And those kind of dynamics and gameplay comes into play definitely in this series. So what ended up happening in this particular series is we're giving the champs a dose of their own medicine. And obviously what ensues is drama. They're not necessarily on board with that, being held hostage by our stars. We're rookies. We're not supposed to, know how to play this game, nor execute them one by one in every single elimination. And I think it's safe to say that the tides and the tables have turned.
You do come in with a little experience doing the Chance versus Pros, and then it must be interesting for like Wes and CT. These two guys I remember watching on like Real World. Did you guys remember them? Like, they've been doing these competitions for like over a decade.
Yeah, so they are the challenge vets.
Yeah.
And Wes and I have a really interesting dynamic. And it's definitely one of, he was very much, I guess, my tutor in the game. And, coming into this particular game, I knew the champs, but I didn't know the stars. And so for me, it was like I could play this game as an ally or, a vigilante, effectively. And but Wes and I kind of have this kind of mutual respect for one another. There's a level of intelligence that we're both kind of operating at. And I think it's like real recognises real with Wes. But what happens, unfortunately, for him is I take over and hijack his bus, and he then becomes a passenger on what he thought was, his mission to get to the final.
Are you able to maintain friendships after the show? Like, do people kind of let that stuff go, or do they carry it with them?
It's a little bit of both. I'm going to be honest with you. Wes and I, communicate as well as I communicate with a number of the other cast members. But there's always a little bit of a knife dig in each text message. There's always like, oh, you looked really great at your wedding, Wes. Like, and then there's a little bit of a stab as well, just in case, just to keep him on his toes.
So what draws you to this sort of format? Because you obviously did the other show. And then were you on Ninja Warrior UK?
Yes.
Which is so intense.
Yes.
How did you prepare for that?
It is. I didn't really.
Okay.
I kind of just... So Ninja Warrior UK, we had, literally days to prepare for it. Again, it was for charity. I was competing for the British Heart Foundation. My father sadly passed away of a stroke and a heart attack back in 2008. And so when I was invited on, I was like, this is a great opportunity to kind of get back, I guess, you know, on television doing something active aside from track and field, but then also to raise money for charity. And I think there were 7 stages that we had to get through. And each stage that you could reach, i.e. each apparatus, you won £1,000. Oh, this is the story. And I remember my ex-boyfriend was also booked on the show, a rugby guy. And I can remember saying to my boyfriend at the time, he said, Louise, I was like, what? He's like, I know what you're going to do. I'm like, what am I going to do? He said, you're going to try and beat him. I'm like, yes, I am. And so my only goal on the show was obviously to win, to beat the ex-boyfriend and bag as much money as possible. So I literally just went for it. The eyes of the tiger came down. I was super focused and I just kind of tackled each one by one. You'll have to see the video. It's on YouTube.
So you killed it a little bit.
I'm not going to lie, I did. And he fell down at the 3rd. He said to me, oh, what are you warming up for, Hazel? It's not the Olympics. And I can remember thinking, right, you're going down. And he went down on the 3rd apparatus. I was just like, right, done and dusted. Next, let's go.
So doing these shows, I mean, there's the charitable aspect, but it really does kind of allow you to continue with that competition that I don't think you can find that intensity anywhere else other than one of these kind of shows.
Definitely. And I think for me, it's almost a bit cathartic. It's almost like a safe place for me to kind of express my competitive side, because in real life, it's just, you know, let's face it, things just don't operate at Olympic level every single day. You don't have to be fighting to the death every day. This is not the Hunger Games.
God.
Exactly. So the Champs versus Stars is very much just, it's kind of an outlet. It's therapy for me.
I have a really serious question for you.
Go for it.
How do I get your abs?
Yes. So the key to good abs, I mean, I get asked a lot, and bearing in mind, I've been training for 20 years of my life. And the thing about athletes, we use our bodies as very much, we're tools. They're tools of our trade, and our job is to keep them well-oiled, fueled, and sharp for when we need them. And if you think and flip fitness on its head, and just think about how do I keep, you know, my body in as better condition as I can, i.e. good food, you know, hydrated, well-rested, and also trained. And how do I maintain a training program every single day? What you find is that abs will take care of themselves. And what I find is people focus so much on the abs and the crunches and, you know, the booty exercises, and they forget what it is really all about, which is just literally finding a balance that just works for you. And then you don't even have to think about the abs. They're just there. They just pop up one day and say hello, and it's like, okay, you know, taken care of, you know, simple as that.
I'm going to keep waiting for them to pop up. I guess they haven't
got
popped up
you.
yet. Okay.
I got you.
So that's something you're really passionate about is fitness, and I know you have designed certain programs for people. I think I saw it's called Slay, the videos that you're doing.
Yeah,
I love that name.
I
It's
know.
so cute. Yeah,
I'm like, so. You know, I wanted to create something that was completely and utterly female-centric, pure and simply because the fitness industry is a world which is controlled and pretty much run by men. And so often, you know, the training programs that we get through multiple apps are designed by men. And I can tell, as a person who's trained all of their lives for events like the javelin and the long jump, you can tell when you kind of are being asked to do like dumbbell curls. It just doesn't feel like this just, what do I need to do this for in real life? And so I wanted to create something that was super, super functional, that didn't require hours and hours of time and dedication, but also offered women continuity. Rather than this, oh my God, I've got to get in shape in 30 days for my wedding or summer's coming round. I really wanted to flip the idea of fitness on its head and get people to understand that this is a long-term investment in your own health and investment in your body, the thing that, you know, you're going to have when you're 50 or you're 60. Stop thinking about fitness as what am I going to look like in May, June, July, August. Start thinking about how do I want to feel and how do I want to operate when I'm, you know, in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time. If you're stiff now and if you feel unfit now, think about what you're going to feel like then if you don't kind of change those daily habits. And it's just about doing as much as you can.
that's actually hit me recently, where I think when you're in your early 20s, you're like, oh, is this going to be like this forever?
Don't have to think about it.
Yeah, and then you start feeling it, and you
Yeah.
have to think about it. So what is like a sample workout that you have?
So Slay, the actual program, which is available on my site, which is slaywithlulu.com. So they are a hit series. So they start as all body weight, and the first stage that is up and available now is just one of 12 plans. And so this is super, super kind of scientific. Let's delve in. And I thought, how can I take somebody from beginner level, stage 1, all the way through to advanced level, stage 12. So there are effectively 12 months worth of exercise to come. And my idea was, if I were taking a normal person off of the street and training them as a trainer as I do, by that 12 months, I want them to be able to walk into a gym, pick up a piece of equipment and feel confident and know exactly what their form is and where they should be, and just feel like they have a bank of exercises in their memory to kind of refer to. I wanted people to feel more confident and comfortable walking into gyms instead of them being a place of kind of intimidation and pain.
That is how it feels, especially if you don't walk in with a plan. It's really easy to get kind of distracted and start using machines.
Completely. And then there's those chatty people at the gym. You know what I mean? Just want to come and do one lift and chat all day long. No, avoid them ones.
I'm
avoid
headphones
them.
in, like headband on,
Yeah.
very competitive, like I said.
can
Like,
tell.
get in, very focused. So what do you kind of cheat on? Like, what's your sort of guilty pleasure meal
Oh my
or
gosh.
something for fun?
I just can't stay away from fries.
Yeah.
Like, if we're out, unfortunately, with anybody, if there are fries on the table, as far as I'm concerned, it's an open table. You know, don't come at my plate, but I'm coming for your fries. I just cannot help myself.
Fries, and I'm from the Midwest, so sometimes I'll dip them in ranch, which is so bad.
I'm not sure about this ranch
Yeah.
dressing. I literally experienced it for the first time last week, and I'm just like, no, just stick to ketchup or mayo. I'm not too sure about the ranch.
Give it another go, right? I mean,
Really?
it's pretty great. Yeah.
Persist. Okay, I'll bear with you on that. I'll let you know.
Okay. So the show is about to wrap up soon. We don't want to know how it ends, I guess. Maybe we do. But what can you tell us about the last sort of finale with Champs and Stars?
Well, I think the interesting bit is that everybody has a role to play. And so there are no shrinking violets, especially where the stars are concerned. And whilst I would say that it would seem that the drama is behind us, what ensues this week and where we left off last week was a situation where Casper and I, the villains, we've earned this name, the title of the villains, pure and simply because we know how to play the game and we're giving it to them in both barrels. So we're now thrown into the elimination. So this is the first opportunity that we have to prove ourselves. Like, you know, we've been kind of sat there playing the game, putting everybody through torture, and now the tables have turned. So this is the time where we basically have to step up and get the job done. And so, you know, athlete mode comes out. There is more to come.
Something tells me that you're going to get it done, but we'll see. We'll have to watch to find
You
out.
never know. It's the challenge.
That's
Anything
true.
could happen.
This is true. I think now's a good time to open up to the audience for a couple questions. If we're right in the front.
Hi. So have you ever gotten injured or really, really bad or had to spend some time recovering and which made it maybe difficult to get back, to like a challenge?
I can think of like 3 immediate things and times in my life where I've been hurt. Fortunately, I really didn't suffer any major injuries as an athlete. But I can remember when my dad passed away, I ended up with this. I can remember being in a position where I literally could not run. And what I mean by that is I literally could not get out of this position. My quads and everything, my hip flexors were really tight. And I ended up having to have injections in order that I could stand up and straighten up to full extension to run. And I felt, it was at that moment that I realized that grief and loss and things like that affect you in so many ways that you don't even realize. You know, whilst I was carrying on with training, there was a very much almost like a psychosomatic change in my body that wasn't enabling me to kind of push through physically. And that was really the only time when I really realized, you know what, the mental and physical, when it comes to, performance, are inextricably linked. And then the next time where I got really badly hurt was when I crashed into an ice wall doing a show similar to The Challenge, which in the UK is called The Jump. and it's basically a television show, reality game show, which takes place based around the Winter Olympics. So we did bobsleigh, we did snowboard, we did skeleton bob, where you're head first on a sled, literally on an Olympic track thing. I know you're shaking your head at the back. Exactly. What was I thinking? And then guess what? The elimination was a ski jump. So you had to come like down this huge ramp and then jump into the air on skis, land for distance. And I can remember walking up to the top of it was the final. I made it to the final. There was a British rugby guy and another reality TV star. And my mum said, Lou, don't do anything stupid. I'm like, Mum, I didn't come here to play. And I marched up to the top of this 40-meter jump, like put my helmet on, and I was like Eddie the Eagle. All of a sudden, I'm like, this is good. I didn't think I'd be doing the Winter Olympics, but let's go. And I can remember setting off, and at hurtling speed, you're probably coming down at 30, 40 miles per hour. You're launched into the air, which seems for like an eternity, and you land at 18 metres, which quite simply I could triple jump. So I kind of thought, what's the point? Do you know what I mean? At that point, I just risked life and limb. And that was the last time I kind of thought I'd do an extreme sport, but here we are again at the challenge.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Like, people train their entire lives to do ski jumping. You're like, yeah, I'll give it a go.
Give it 8 weeks.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. All right, one last question.
Hi, we're going to take our last question from an online viewer. Haley wants to know if you could train any celebrity in the heptathlon, who would you pick?
Ooh, good one. Oh my gosh. Do you know what? So I recently had the pleasure of interviewing Brooke Hogan for my podcast, Slay Sunday, which is out now. Brooke Hogan obviously comes from a caliber of just an athletic family, dad from wrestling. And Brooke is a very strong girl, and which, I learned during Champs versus Stars, she has absolute skills when it comes to physical, challenges and ability. And I kind of thought, there's definitely something there. She's definitely got that competitive attitude. She definitely have the throws down, the shot put, the javelin. And then I just felt like this is a person who is, or could have been, quite simply a professional athlete. If they'd have taken a different path instead of entertainment, there's no doubt in my mind that she is a person that we would have seen, playing for Team USA, without a doubt.
I love the way you answered that, because you're like, she could probably have actually done this if she had started.
100%. No doubt in my mind.
That's really, really cool. Well, I'll have to check out some of her athletic prowess on the next episode. Guys, make sure you check out the challenge Champs versus Stars on MTV. Give it up for Louise.
Thank you. Thank you.